Now we're going to go through how to find the inverse of a particular matrix. The example one that we're going to go through right now is a 2 by 2 matrix, so it's a little bit smaller one. Some of the larger ones we'll show you how to do as well in a different video. But right now we're just focusing on the 2 by 2 matrix. There is a formula that we use. The formula is fairly complicated. If we look right over here, then here is our formula. We've got a lot of different letters here, A, B, C, and D. Remember, the inverse is denoted by this little notation right here, a to the negative 1. That means that this is the inverse of this particular matrix here. Remember that all matrices are denoted with a capital letter, typically. Okay, now, we're going through here, and we've got a lot of these in here. A, B, C, and D, and it's in different locations here, and it might get a little bit confusing. So let's kind of go through an example problem to see what this one looks like. So here's our example problem. We've got an 8, 8 on the first row, and the second row is a negative 4 and a negative 4. Okay, so for this particular one, we want to find the inverse of this one. So again, the inverse is denoted by this negative 1 notation, a to the negative 1. And right here it says that we've got to do a times d, and if you notice, a is in the upper left, d is in the lower right. So basically we're going to multiply these two items together. 8 times negative 4. So we'll write that here, and this is 1 over 8 times negative 4. Then it's asked us to subtract b times c, and this is my b and this is my c. So subtract 8 times negative 4. So we'll do that now. Times this other matrix, and we're not really sure what this matrix is going to be yet. We're going to do that next. So that's the big thing, 1 over, and we're going to multiply these two minus the product, or the multiplication of these two. Alright, now let's figure out what has to go in this particular matrix right here. Well, in order to know what goes in here, it's going to be basically a little bit of a change of what our original matrix was here. So I'm going to bring this one, I'm going to write it right down here just for illustration purposes, so we can have a little bit better understanding of where we got this, where this came from. Okay, and when we're doing this one, if you'll notice here, this D and this A, well, the A used to be in the upper left-hand corner. Now it's in the bottom right-hand corner. And the D used to be in the bottom right, now it's in the upper left. So basically all we did is we switched these two. So that's all we're going to do here. We're going to switch these two. It used to be an 8 in the upper left, that means it'll be an 8 in the bottom right. And it used to be a negative 4 in the bottom right, now there'll be a negative 4 in the upper left. So we'll do that now. And all we did is we switched those two locations, that's it. Now then, for these two, it's a little bit different. Here you'll notice B and C were still in that same location. Those haven't changed at all. But you notice that the sign changes on both of these. Both of these were positive, now they turn to negative. And our rule on that is that we're basically just going to go in there and change both of those signs. If it's a positive, like this one, we're going to change it to a negative. If it's a negative, like this one, we're going to change it to a positive. So it should look like this. Notice how this one was an 8, we changed the sign to a negative 8. This one was a negative 4, we changed the sign to 4. Okay, so now that we've got this new matrix here, I can get rid of this. This was just there to kind of show you where this one came from. So I'm going to get rid of that one at the moment. Now it's just a matter of simplifying it and then multiplying it across. So we want to simplify this, and it's 1 over, and so let's go 8 times negative 4 would be negative 32. And 8 times negative 4 would be negative 32. So we're going to simplify both of those. So this is going to be 1 over negative 32, and this is minus negative 32, which is the same thing as plus 32. And this matrix here, I did not change at all. Okay, we just need to simplify this, the denominator here, negative 32 plus 32, that gives us 0. And this one did not change at all. Well, now we've got now what we would do here is we'd take this one and we would multiply this by each individual portion, each individual section inside of our matrix here. But we've got an issue here, 1 divided by 0. The problem is that we can't divide by 0. So if we look at it here, because this denominator has a 0, there is no inverse of this matrix. There is none. So our answer on this one would simply be that no inverse exists. That would be all we'll end up writing on that one. And the reason why no inverse exists is because we cannot divide by 0. So if you get one like this, where you're dividing by 0, then you know that it doesn't work. There can be no inverse of this particular matrix. So we'll just write no inverse exists, and that's sufficient for our answer.